It's not in my nature to be mysterious, but I can't talk about it, and I can't tell you why.
Ooh.
Neither can Newcastle United by the sound of it. What the hell's going on here? Hi everyone, back to more YouTube channel. It's Chris back with my rant stroke thought of the day, and it's all about cryptic messages, mixed messages from the football club, if you will, regarding what the new stadium, regarding not moving stadium. I don't know. You tell me. Answers on a postcard. But the Rueben brothers, Newcastle United, they've all been popping out into socials here in terms of messages about what's going on. I'm going to try and read these and get my head around these and try and figure out what on earth these mean and talk about it. So the first one here is Mark will have the pictures up in the background with the wonders of YouTube. But we've got Newcastle United as a symbol of resilience, passion, and community. Rueben Brothers is proud to stand alongside this historic institution as it writes its next chapter, building on legacy, driving ambition, and uniting generations of supporters. And I'll pause there for a second to think about that. Now, that to me sounds like, they're talking about, hey, this is the next chapter. This is exciting. This is a new thing. This could potentially be a new stadium. This could be Leazes Park. Get on board. Everything else. Da, 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 da. Is that what it means? Let me know what you guys think. So the next one is a comment from Eddie Howe. So Eddie Howe was saying, representing the hopes and dreams of our city and supporters everywhere is something we never take for granted. It's a constant motivator for us. And we will be doing everything within our power to achieve something special together. And with you and for you. Sorry, Eddie, I stumbled on that. I'm going to be readers on you. See, I thought I'd do it no glasses. What do you think, guys? Let me know, glasses or no glasses. Hopefully, I look good either way. But be easy in the comments. Don't hit my feelings. And the last one is just saying, together we honour the past and shape the future of this beautiful game called football. So, what do you think about that, guys? What do you think? Is that a story? Smash my microphone there. Is that a story about the new stadium? Is that them? Wetting the whistle? Is that them talking about the announcement of Leazes Park could be maybe at the end of this month, potentially going into the new season, knowing that the new stadium is on the cards and all the excitement about that behind the scenes and the revenue it can bring and all that other stuff? Is that something that the club are just kind of teasing out there? I think some journalists have already come out and said, I told you so. I told you it was going to be at the end of next month. I'm right. And maybe they are right. Maybe they're not. I think some journalists just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. But this would be interesting because I made a joke about this the other day, that the lack of transfer activity is almost like shit. Emergency break glass, get a stadium store out there. And this could easily be that. This could just be noise. This could just be, hey, we've got plans for it. Hey, we've got a design for it. I could design myself an extension in the garden here, with a studio and a swimming pool. No, I don't mean it's ever going to fucking happen. I could just get it designed and go, ooh, look at that. It's my new studio in my garden. But it ain't going to happen. So maybe it could be that potential. I don't know. But very mixed messages from the football club. Very cryptic, I feel. And at a bit of a strange time where, some supporters are concerned about what the hell's going on in the now, not in the future, in terms of the stadium. We want to know about the squad. We want to know, are we going to be in good shape to handle the rigors of another Champions League campaign, the Premier League, domestic cups? We won a cup last season. We don't want to just bow out of the cups again next season. We want to fight. We want to try and retain that League Cup. We want to try and win the FA Cup. We want to go far in the Champions League. We still want to be in the top 5, top 4 of the Premier League. And at the minute, we haven't got the squad to deal with the rigors of all of that. We barely got through last season without European football. The squad was that thin. So these need answered right now. And yes, it's early doors. It's the 11th of June as I record this. And there's loads of time to get players in. But targets apparently were after disappearing off to other clubs for more money. Yes, that's a revenue problem. Yes, that's a Mike Ashley problem. Kind of systemically, really, is the fat bastard, sucked the life out of us like a big, fat, dirty leech, and invested very little back into the football club and just used it as a platform to whore his sporting business all over the billboards and left it to go to rock and ruin, But 4 years into the takeover here, and yes, we've seen some commercial benefit. We've seen the stack, we've seen, the hospitality in the Leazes end. We've seen, Noon on the shirt. We've seen Adidas come back. We've seen some things come back, but, the training ground still hasn't been sponsored. Even the name and rights of the stadium, you don't need to change the name. You don't need to change it from St. James's Park. Call it St. James's Park, but I don't know, fucking Mercedes brings you to St. James's Park. So everyone will just still call it St. James's Park. It's fine. It's not like the Sports Direct Arena. That was a kick in the dick back then when the fat bastard did that, because he knew what he was doing. He was pissing us off. It was legacy, But if we're going to move to a new stadium anyway, what's wrong with the name and rights for the current stadium for a season or two to bring in an extra couple of £100 million or whatever to the coffers? But, I don't know what the guys are doing behind the scenes in the kind of commercial think tank, but it seemed to have stalled a little bit in terms of the commercial revenue. Now, I know the Premier League and all these associate partner agreement things were on, and then they were off, and they were off, and they were on, and all this sort of stuff, and back and forth, and City taking them to court and all of that. And Newcastle don't seem to have made hay while the sun shines, and there's a lot of questions you can ask about that. Is Newcastle just trying to do things by the book? Because if they break bad, the Premier League will punish them so badly that will be in stocks and getting guillotined by the Premier League. Is that what's going to happen? Are they worried about the extremity of punishment from the Premier League, in terms of how severe it would be compared to anybody else? Because they put these rules in place to stop Newcastle being this financial behemoth and swallowing up and stealing all these players. Ironically, Liverpool pissing loads of money on players. Man United still pissing loads of money on players. They've got no Champions League. The stadium's falling to pieces. It's riddled with mice. They've got players on 500 grand a week who are shit and don't even play, and are still able to spend. And they've got even people in government lobbying them for a new stadium, which is just fucking mental. But all that's okay by the Premier League. But if Newcastle break bad, they're going to be absolutely vilified. I don't know if that's truth or not, but are they waiting for that? The court case, the 115 alleged charges, I must say, to Manchester City, they're waiting for that to finish. We all thought that was going to be done and dusted already. But if that finishes and Man City get off with a slap on the wrist, is that carte blanche for Newcastle and the PIF to go, fuck it, let's spend big? Is that what they're waiting for? But I do worry sometimes that the PIF are more invested in growing the Saudi Pro League, and the golf and the football and the Formula One, all this stuff that they do. They've got thumbs in so many pies. The Newcastle's just this tiny little investment that has so many financial restrictions that they just maybe think, I can't be arsed, I'll just go throw 500 million into that. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that they do want to be number one, as Big Yas kept saying he wants to be number one. And I hope that is the case, because the potential for Newcastle here is there. It absolutely is there. We've qualified for Champions League twice in 3 seasons with limited investment. People talk about the first window. We had to buy those players because we would have went down. Simple as that. We had to get Trippier and Byrne and Botman and Bruno and all of it. We had to get them in. We had to, because we would have been relegated without that. And since then, yes, Tonali and Barnes, Tino and Hall, add them in as well. Yeah, but then it stalled because the financial headroom isn't there anymore, because there's a problem with the revenue and the rules and the regulations and everything else. But this whole cryptic message thing, I just wish the club would just be straight with us and tell us what's going on. Tell us if they've applied for planning permission. Do us a fucking drawing or a 3D render video of the stadium. I know some people don't want that, but just do it. Do it. See what the fans say. I think most of the fans are on board with the new stadium. I don't think they've got a problem with it. A lot of fans are still upset about it, and I get that. The legacy and the history of St. James's Park. You went there with your mum or your dad or your granddad or whatever it is, and it holds a special place in your heart, and it always will. St. James's Park will always hold a special place in my heart, even if we do build Leazes Park and I'm sitting in there watching games. I won't be in the corporate seats, that's for damn sure. But I'm not that good of a YouTuber, but some of them are. But I won't be in those corporate seats. But Newcastle United is in your heart, and it's a passion, and you take it with you wherever you go. But St. James's Park will always be special to us Newcastle fans, no doubt about it whatsoever. If we do build this new stadium, the new generation of supporters will only ever know that new stadium, and St. James's Park will just be a footnote in the history books really for them. But I just wish they would be straight. Let us know what you guys think about these cryptic messages. What did you make about it? Do you think it's just noise? Do you think it's a deflection tactic to take away from the fact that we're a mess upstairs? There's the sporting director's on his way out. The CEO is still having to work, even though he's got ill health, and we haven't got a replacement lined up. The targets seem to be struggling to get them in through the door. Do you think this is just a deflection tactic to try and take people's minds off of it and look over there while we're doing this over here? Or do you generally think that there might be some news coming about the new stadium? And what do you think about the new stadium? Do you want it? Do you not want it? Tell us your reasons why. We always like to hear from you. Drop a comment and we'll do our best to reply to. Keep it above the belt as always. It's a nice community we've got in the chat. We just talk about football and this team that we call United, no matter where they play. So like and subscribe, guys. Keep it ever more. We're over 10,500 subs. 11,000 is the next step. Got a great prize to give away for that as well. So smash that button. Recommend us to family and friends. Have a cracking day wherever you are, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.
heroes celebrate. They have done it.